Welcome to TarantulasDreamTV. You are watching a previously recorded broadcast. Tune in every Monday and Wednesday from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Instagram at TarantulasDreamTV for new episodes. And remember, it is a weird, weird world.
It is intended for the entertainment and instruction of broad-minded adults only, and should not be played to or sold to minors under any circumstances whatsoever. Thank you.
Broadcasting from the floating pie pan in the sky at Groom Lake Analog Recordings. Welcome to TarantulasDreamTV. Now here's your host, Samba.
Hello, welcome to TarantulasDreamTV. I am your host.
It's just me, everybody.
Samba.
There we go. It was just me. This is my new friend over here, Samuel. Check him out. Isn't he cool? He's a little dude. A listener actually gave me this gift. I was gonna say send, but they didn't. They kind of sent it, just not through the mail or something like that. They just gave it to me. There you go. He'll punch you in the face if you make fun of the host. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Welcome to Tarantulas Dream TV. Again, I am your host,
Samba.
and you're here for part 2 of the spooky Tarantulas Dream TV Halloween Spooktacular. I am very excited for this evening. I have 2 very special guests on the phone. I'm going to bring them on the line for in about 5-6 minutes, and we'll get this thing started. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. It's going to get spooky tonight. We're going to have a collective scare all together. You know, that's probably the best scares, when we all feel it at the same time. It's kind of you feel safe because you're around a lot of people, but for some reason there's just that spooky feeling down in your gut that you just can't explain. So we're gonna have that all together at the same time. So before I bring my guests on the line, I do have a couple headlines for you for this evening. First one comes out of the WashingtonPost.com. Germany and France announced new national lockdowns, saying they have lost control of the coronavirus. German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President Emmanuel Macron each announced month-long national lockdowns on Wednesday, saying health authorities have lost control of skyrocketing new infections while hospitals fill rapidly. The announcements came as governments across Europe struggled to contain a second wave of the virus in colder weather, even after the relative success of strict lockdown restrictions in the spring. We in Europe are all surprised by the propagation of the virus, Macron said in a televised address to the nation. The virus is circulating in France at a speed that even the most pessimistic forecasts had not anticipated, he said, adding that the number of infections had doubled in less than 2 weeks. Germany has similarly witnessed a rapid deterioration of its virus response after being praised in the first wave of the pandemic. The country's contact tracing program, paired with mandatory quarantines, had been held up as a model of how to contain outbreaks. Now, German health authorities are now unable to identify where 75% of new infections come from. We no longer have control of the spread of the virus, Merkel said in a Berlin news conference, noting that the number of patients in the country's intensive care units had doubled in the past 10 days. If the tempo of infection stays the same, we will reach the capacity of our healthcare system within weeks, she said. That's why it's completely clear that we need to act and act now. So not good news coming from Germany and France. Cases are going up, infections are going up, much like here in Pima County. Unfortunately, I believe Banner Health tweeted, I think maybe today or yesterday, that again they're seeing the same sort of rise in cases, and that if we don't get these numbers down, we will meet and as well as kind of smash the number of cases we had back in June and July. So not good news about COVID-19, but it kind of is what it is in a way there. But please, again, I end the show, both my shows the exact same way: social distance and wear a mask if you go outside. Please do your part to get us through this. Winter is going to be a wild ride. So let's look out for each other. How about that? Let's look out for each other. And the second headline comes from CNBC.com. SpaceX prices Starlink satellite internet service at $99 per month, according to email. SpaceX is expanding the beta test of its Starlink satellite internet service, sending emails on Monday to people who expressed interest in signing up for the service. Called the Better Than Nothing beta test, according to multiple screenshots of the emails seen by CNBC, initial Starlink service is priced at $99 a month, plus a $499 upfront cost to order the Starlink kit. That kit includes a user terminal to connect to the satellites, a mounted tripod, and a Wi-Fi router. There is also now a Starlink app listed by SpaceX on the Google Play and Apple iOS app stores. As you can tell from the title, we are trying to lower your initial expectations, the email said, signed Starlink team. Expect to see data speeds vary from 50 megabits to 150 megabits and latency from 20 milliseconds to 40 milliseconds, blah, 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 over the next several months. There will also be brief periods of no connectivity at all. So just kind of following up on the SpaceX Starlink internet service I had reported on a number of weeks ago. I had signed up to be a beta tester, but they haven't sent me an email or anything. And now that I know that it's going to cost me a whopping $600, if not more, to try this potentially faulty space-bound internet service, I don't think I'm going to be doing it. I'd love to be a beta tester for it, but not if it's going to cost me, a 1 month's rent essentially at this point. So if anyone is interested in SpaceX's Starlink internet service and signed up for the beta and is going to fork over the cash, I'd love to hear from you. So please give me a call at 520-704-7820 and leave me a message after the show, or send me an email at Samba, downtownradio.org. That's where a lot of these the show emails are going, and or hit me up on Instagram. Just let me know. I'd love to hear from someone who's actually using this service, or if they got the beta link for this service. So at any rate, let's get into the meat of the night. I'm very excited about this evening. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to have some really great guests that I'm going to be talking to tonight. I'm so excited for everyone who decided to join me for this Halloween Spooktacular. I was a little nervous that it wasn't going to be very much of a spooktacular, but Monday's show, we had some great ghost stories from y'all listeners, as well as my co-host and myself. And tonight, we're going to dive right back into some of this ghost business. So let me get my guests on the line over here. Let's see if get them on the line. So my first guest, Parisa Pizza Pie, you still there?
Yeah, excuse me. Yes, here. Hello, how you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. It sounds like you had a little bit of spaghetti in the throat. I know you had said that you were eating a spaghetti dinner earlier, so it sounds like maybe you're have a little noodle action or something.
I did. I know. I was trying to scarf it down as quick I could before, but I'm good.
All right.
Dinner's over. It's showtime.
It is showtime. All right. So we got my first guest, Parisa Pizza Pie, old Dusty Brains on the phone. And my second guest, very excited to introduce Becky, and please correct me if I mispronounce your last name, Gydesen, who's the... Gydesen, there you go, who's the founder and lead investigator behind the Tucson Ghost Society. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm just fine. I was very excited to do these shows this week. I called them my Halloween Spooktacular, and I was just very excited to talk ghosts and paranormal stuff, with these shows leading up to Halloween. So very happy to have you on the phone. So let's start off with a little personal background on yourself, if you want to let the listeners know kind of where you come from, what the beginning of your interest in the paranormal, where that started, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I was actually born and raised in Toledo, Ohio. And I actually lived in a haunted house in Toledo.
Wow.
And so I guess it basically started from there. When I got older, I moved into an apartment that was also haunted, and that's when I had like one of my first major paranormal experiences. And that's what pretty much got me really curious into it. And then back in 2013, I went on my own little ghost hunt with a company down in Bisbee, and the next thing I know, I'm buying the Tucson Ghost Tour and forming my own paranormal team, and been doing it ever since.
Wow, that's very interesting. So it sounds like you've kind of had this. I don't know. It seems like you're drawing these paranormal experiences. They kind of gravitate towards you. Do you have any kind of a guess why you're just kind of a magnet for these paranormal activities?
I've been told that I am, yes.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I've talked to a few other people who they always kind of have the same thing when they're like, "Yeah, I experienced it when I was younger, and it kind of just followed me into adulthood." So I don't know. It's just something about certain people. Just kind of, you're a magnet for the paranormal, which is very, very fascinating and interesting. So you said that you kind of had a little connection to like a ghost society in Bisbee. So does the Tucson Ghost Society, do you guys work with any other paranormal investigative teams or societies around Arizona, or is it just mostly just localized here in town?
We just basically, if anyone wants to work with us, we're always, open to it. But basically, we do our own thing. We're really about education and debunking and things like that. But as far as investigating, we've been all over Arizona and even outside of Arizona at times.
Okay. And then how many people are on the actual like investigative team?
Right now, I have my husband works with me. Maela's been with me since day one. I have Debbie, Raina, Jennifer, and Audrey, and then my daughters will join from here and there too. So,
oh wow,
we usually keep it between 8 and 10. It is family run, so my daughters tend to join me whenever they can, and they are really starting to get into it. So
okay, wow. So yeah, so you got it's a family affair. It sounds like you're just all getting in the spirit of investigation. That's really cool.
Yeah, my husband basically does it to keep me quiet, and my daughters, well, my youngest is still iffy on it because she's only 9, so she still gets a little scared here and there. But my middle daughter, who is 13, is really starting to get into it now, and she's really wanting to go on more and more investigations with me. Wow.
Do you have any like reservations with having like kids come on these, especially your kids come on these investigations? I don't know. I mean, I think at this point with a lot of media and TV shows, they've kind of made ghost hunting and or paranormal investigations entertainment. It seems like it's scary, but it's very fun, and there's always things happening. But I don't know. Do you have any reservations having your kids come kind of do these investigations with you if it gets, I don't know, too real, too spooky? I don't know.
When it comes to certain residential cases, I won't take them. And it's not necessarily because of what we may encounter paranormal-wise, but people-wise.
Okay, yeah.
People always scare me more than ghosts do, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, certain things may come up, and, you never quite know what you're walking into when it comes to stuff like that. But we have never come across anything demonic. That is just so far and in between. That's very rare.
Okay.
And so I don't really worry about coming across something like that with them.
Okay. That's, I was actually going to ask you about that a little later in the evening in regards to, because I noticed on your website you had, very specifically, it said that you are not trained to handle any type of possession cases. You don't know of any team that does that, and then you kind of direct people to someone maybe who's religious or something like that to kind of deal with that. So, but it sounds like from what you said, you've never really had any experiences or any encounters with the demons, or what someone might think is a demon, or have you had any encounters with anyone who has requested an exorcism or anything like that?
We've come across a few, and the thing is when you do your research, because it's a lot of research, and I don't want this to come off wrong, but a lot of these people that are approaching us about these things are really watching like a lot of these paranormal shows,
right,
and they have some other issues. And so I always just direct them to go to like a religious source or a doctor of some type of sort, because a lot of those are more mind over matter, so to say. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but again, it's very rare. It's not something that happens every day like the TV makes it out to be.
Sure. Are you religious at all?
I come from a Catholic background, but I don't attend right now. I'm more, I guess, spiritual. I formed a different type of relationship with God, and I just don't feel like I have to go to church to worship Him, so to say.
Okay. No, that's perfectly fine. It is always interesting to kind of think of, especially with ghosts and I don't know, just kind of paranormal things that they're invisible most of the time. They're like invisible things. They're kind of, it's the unknown. In a lot of ways, religion is very similar to that, and so they're kind of also connected in that same way, where it's just a lot of just faith and that something's happening. So it's just very interesting to think of how religion and paranormal investigations can kind of go hand in hand sometimes. I don't know if you feel the same, or if I'm totally off base with like religion and paranormal investigation, if they're totally separate things.
Yeah, it's funny because it really depends on the type of religion to how people feel about ghosts and ghost hunting. And when I first started doing this, I was actually told that I was working for the devil and that I would go to hell for it. Mm-hmm. So some religions are like totally against it, and others are open to it, and others just seem to be unsure. To me, this is why I stopped going to a church, because I cannot say what is right and what is wrong. I just believe in good and bad, and I just believe in doing good. And when it comes to me doing this, I'm helping other people. So I don't see how that would be anything bad when I'm trying to help other people.
Sure. Yeah, I don't either. I don't know. Pizza Pie, Parisa, would you have any reservations, or think that this is anti-religion in any way, trying to help people with their paranormal problems, I guess?
Yeah, no, definitely not. I think, like you're saying, it's you're giving people, peace of mind, and it seems the way that you're going about it too. You say even on your website, it's like you're ruling out all other possibilities, so you're not stoking the flames of people who might have inclinations towards just, grabbing anything paranormal. So I appreciate that it's also this balance of, ruling out all other possibilities, keeping it strict with your team, not allowing other people to join in. So, yeah, it seems like a really sound system. You know.
Yeah, we're very picky. I've come across other teams that just welcome anyone to come with, and they don't announce who their team is, and they are not really huge on debunking. And that was something that when I saw that, I was like, I want to be different that way. I don't want to be like that. I want people to know who's coming in their house. I don't want to just bring anyone, because, we're going into a private residence or a business, and these people have the right to know who's coming and, who's going to be there, not just some stranger coming in, so to say. And if someone's going in there and calling ghosts to everything, they're not helping the families or businesses at all. They're just making it worse.
Right.
Absolutely.
So do you, how often do people request a paranormal investigation? Is this something that seems to be something on a daily, a weekly basis? Is it sort of slowing down? Does it speed up? Is there any time of year where it feels like it's just these requests for an investigation are just kind of piling up?
October. For some odd reason, everyone discovers their house is haunted in October. I guess because everyone starts thinking Halloween and ghosts, so we get more people contacting us in the month of October. But it's throughout the year. It's, it comes and goes, and it comes in stages. Like, there'll be times that we won't have any case, and then all of a sudden we'll get like 10 cases. So it comes in, little spurts, and it comes throughout the year. But October is definitely the more crazy month.
How many have you had? I mean, we're almost at the end of the month. How many have you had so far?
Well, actually, this month we haven't gone on any cases. We are setting them up for next month and November. So there's about 3 cases that we're working on right now. And unfortunately, we had to turn down a couple cases, too, because we can't take every single case that comes our way.
Yeah. And
I've noticed a difference with COVID. People are more reserved about having people come into their houses and stuff right now. So it seems a little bit more laid back this year than previous years.
Yeah. And that is an interesting kind of topic of discussion, the idea that, like, with COVID-19, with a pandemic going on, it's essentially touched every sort of business, and it's just, you can't escape it. It's a global thing, so it touches everybody's their businesses or their what they do on their free time. So with living during a pandemic and kind of having this paranormal this Tucson Ghost Society, how has COVID-19 really affected you all throughout the year? Are you nervous at all for kind of conducting investigations on site with a pandemic going on?
To me, I don't worry about stuff like that too much, but we do take extra precautions, and we offer extra precautions to anyone that, wants us to come in, like the wiping down of stuff more, and, we can spray like Lysol and stuff like that, and wear a mask and all this stuff. But all in all, though, we didn't take a few cases when it first started. We basically closed everything down when everyone was supposed to be in lockdown. We didn't do anything during those periods of time. My company, my team, everything just kind of locked down for a couple months. So that affected us major time.
Yeah. And then at this point, so, we're kind of coming up to the end of the year. COVID cases are, unfortunately, they're kind of ratcheting up. And I know with the Tucson Ghost Society, you also do, ghost tours around downtown. Is that still something you're doing currently, or is that also kind of on hiatus?
No, we did reopen, and we have been doing the ghost tours. We've had to limit the amount of people that go on them. We usually take up to 25. Well, now we have it limited to 15. It's all outdoors, so we feel that it's safe, because of the fact that we're not in enclosed areas, and we're not touching things and entering buildings and things like that. So it's all an outdoor environment. So we figured that was, safe, and if we kept the numbers low, we figured that would be good.
Yeah.
What has been affected was I usually do a ghost experience, which is at La Cocina, and they had been closed down. They just recently reopened, so that experience had been closed down because of them being closed. And then we work with other companies, and some of those have had to back out because of being closed. Luckily, we were still able to work with Fox, but they had to limit the tours, but they did more tours. So it kind of worked out. And my last one is actually Friday night, and they've been sold out for, I think since September. They sold out on all these things.
Wow. I mean, that's really awesome. I think a lot of people are, they're itching to get outside at least, and they're itching to kind of do something fun and entertaining while also feeling safe. And I think, doing stuff outside is definitely the more preferred method right now, I think, of getting together with friends or at least family, people you trust. And I'm glad to hear that it sounds like you're doing pretty well with these ghost tours right now.
Yeah, it's not as much as usual, but, anything right now I'm thankful for, so.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Parisa, have you done any ghost tours at all ever?
I can't say that I have. I'm honestly, we were talking on your last show about some of my personal experiences, and it's only been recently that I've been able to kind of open myself up to even talking about these things. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely interested now that it's become a more comfortable topic. So
sure.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Cool.
But I don't know if we have enough time before the break. I don't know what time it is, but I'd be really interested to hear too, just the process or what kind of tools you use that when you go into someone's house to start an investigation. I don't know if Samba, we have enough time to get to that before the break.
We're
really interested to hear.
We're about 3 minutes to the bottom of the hour here, so let's take the break. We do a short little music break. We'll take the break, and we'll kind of leave people on a little cliffhanger here with that question. If that sounds good to both of you, I'm going to put you on hold for a few minutes, and I'll get you after the music break.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So cool. So I'll see you all in a few minutes. Let's get to our song of the night over here on Tarantulas Dream TV. I hope everyone's having a good time over here on the Tarantulas Dream TV Halloween Spooktacular. It looks like you're not blowing up the comments. Blob Dordo, hello. Love to see you, Blob Dordo. I haven't seen you on the airwaves in a while. At least you haven't commented in a while. Maybe you've been on there kind of trolling around. I haven't seen you, but thanks for tuning in. I hope everyone's enjoying this little interview with Parisa, Dusty Brains, Pizza Pie. She's got a lot of different nicknames. And Becky Gydesen. I totally forgot how to pronounce her last name again, who's the founder and lead investigator behind the Tucson Ghost Society. So I'll have them back after the break. But let's get to the song of the night. Tonight, the band that I'm playing is R.M.F.C, or Rock Music Fan Club. They're coming at you from New South Wales, Australia. I'm not going to do an Australian accent for y'all. It always just sounds like it's British coming out of my mouth. So, but the song is Reader from their 2027-inch Reader. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Please enjoy some Rock Music Fan Club, some R.M.F.C. There you go. That was R.M.F.C. Rock Music Fan Club coming at you from New South Wales, Australia. That was their song "Reader" from the 2027-inch Reader. It's the song and the 7-inch have the same name. You can find them at rockmusicfanclub.bandcamp.com. So please head on over there and throw some rock music fan club bones, some Australian bones. Yeah, I don't know. Just throw some money towards R.M.F.C. I believe it's a solo project by this guy. I totally spacing on his name, but I believe he plays all the instruments. It's a sort of a one-man band kind of thing. So please check out Rock Music Fan Club when you have a chance. The time is 9:32. It is Tarantulas Dream TV. I am your host, Samba. It's our Halloween Spooktacular Night 2. We're mere days away from Halloween, so I'm excited to have these special episodes for y'all. These spooky episodes. I have my little pumpkin glowing green down there on my to you. It's on your right, but it's on my left. It's like flipped on my screen. No one asked me about my costume yet. I've worn it before during the Bigfoot episodes, but it's like a lion's head. I'm a lion. I don't know. I'm a bear. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just some sort of like fuzzy creature. But anyway, so let's get our guest back on the line over here. I got my co-host, Pizza Pie. Pizza Pie, you there? Prisa, you there?
Yep.
There you go.
On mute. Hello.
I got a little worried there. I thought maybe the void swallowed you or something like it did on Monday.
Oh yeah, it happens, but not this time.
Not this time. You're there, and I assume Becky, you still there as well?
Yes, I'm here.
Cool. All right. Well, let's continue this little conversation. So last we left off, Prisa, if you want to kind of reiterate your question a little bit, because it does look like we had a few more people jump on the stream over here. So just in case they weren't able to hear the question.
Yeah, definitely. So I was just asking how the process works, the investigative process, and what tools or devices you might use. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to be very clear that we never send any investigator on an investigation without proper training first. So all of our investigators have gone through training. That's part of our process for the investigators. Now, as for the clients, when they come to us with a paranormal concern, we actually do send out what we call a client form and have them fill it out. This way we can get as much information as possible. And then as soon as we get that back, we will do research, and then we will schedule the investigation, and we go and investigate, and then afterwards we go through all the evidence. The investigation itself, we will use many different things depending on the situation. We have the DVR cameras. We have, of course, we do EVPs at all of them. We don't always use the cameras. And we have EMF detectors, and we have the Connect, where you can see like the stick figures, and we have trigger objects, and spirit boxes, and pretty much almost anything you can think of we have, and we will take them to the investigations depending on what is going on, and go from there. But every single investigation that we do EVPs, so the electric voice on the recorders, we do that every single time.
Okay. So with these EVPs, if you could kind of give a little more detail on what exactly does that, what does that mean? What does an EVP look like, or how is that utilized?
For the EVP, we use basic recorders, and the team, we switch recorders to kind of help on review time, and we will ask questions and just generally talk. And then we download the recorders into a computer program, kind of like, Audacity or Sound Organizer, and we play them back. And sometimes we actually get voices that weren't there when we were asking the questions. So when we play it back, we will hear responses to us on those recorders.
Wow. Okay. That's I think I've seen that on some of those like you were saying earlier, some of those kind of A&E History Channel type of like ghost hunting TV shows. And I always every time they do those EVP kind of things, I always find them very creepy. They're very it's very spooky to hear voices on the kind of through the static or through the air, you know. What is sort of interesting is there's also like are EVPs, are they similar to like these ghost boxes that I see being sold online, or you can make your own? Are they similar to that at all?
No, the spirit boxes are the or ghost box, they get referred to both ways. They're basically where it is the static and radio stations, that it goes through different radio stations and voices come through the static. The problem with those is, depending on where you live, is basically how well they work. Even if you remove the antenna, sometimes it still will pick up radio stations. So It really depends on the brand. The brand I have does not work in Tucson. We have way too many radio stations, and we will get radio stations that come through. But if I take it to places like Eureka, Nevada, where there's only like one radio station, they work perfectly. So it's those, everything in the paranormal has a downfall and a good side. And so the downfall to those spirit boxes is the fact that they will, pick up the radio stations.
Okay. Yeah, because I've seen those being sold online and even kind of DIY plans and videos on how to make your own. And there was even that I don't even remember when it came out, but there was that movie, I think it was called White Noise or something like that, that kind of had to do exactly with some guy who could who I don't know if he was a paranormal investigator or what, but he could record essentially that white noise, and then you'd have communications with I don't know, ghost spirits or whatnot. So that does sound like that is an actual thing, an actual tool that you sometimes use. Not really here, I guess, because of the radio static thing, but it is an actual paranormal tool. So the Tucson Ghost Society, it sounds like you guys come from a very like scientific sort of skeptic sort of I don't want to say background, but kind of foundation, where not, like you said, not everything's going to be an actual paranormal situation. There are scientific or realistic, or I won't say realistic, but I guess you could say more down to earth explanations for certain things, which I enjoy, because I feel like having an interest in the paranormal is good. I have an interest in the paranormal. Parisa, I'm not sure how deep your interest in the paranormal goes, but I feel like it's something a lot of people have an interest in. But I do feel like it's important, especially these days, to kind of come from a skeptical background. I won't say background, but like a skeptical eye, that we can't just trust that everything's paranormal, which I enjoy about y'all.
Yeah. I've said it many, many times. If there's any paranormal team that's running in and not trying to find a human cause for things, then they're not helping the field at all. Because if they're basically running in saying it's a ghost and it's, literally, the refrigerator running, I mean, that's not helping the field. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that's important, just to, especially with so much misinformation, disinformation kind of spreading around with different things, that we always have to have a very level head and try to find the truth, the actual truth. And not everything's paranormal, not everything is as spooky as it seems. So I enjoy that with the Tucson Ghost Society. So is there any like specific memorable moments with your sort of paranormal investigations that you'd like to share with the Tarantulas Dream TV audience?
Oh, there's been so many. I'm the one that, like stated earlier, I'm like the magnet for it. So they're very attracted to me, it seems. It seems like I get a lot of experiences. The team will too, but they just tend to follow me home and tend to scratch me or mark me or whatever to me. This past Saturday, when I was doing one of the events at Fox, we stayed afterwards because activity was pretty good. And as we're sitting, it's just the three of us, and we're sitting in the auditorium in separate areas, and my shirt got majorly tugged on, like it's the hardest it's ever been tugged on before. And, of course I cursed, because things like that shock you. You don't expect it. It doesn't necessarily scare you. It's just that kind of like someone coming up and grabbing your sides behind you where you jump.
Yeah.
And, so of course I did that. And it got me laughing afterwards, because whenever you have something like that happen, you start laughing because it's funny that you jump. But I'm always having things like that happen to me where I'm getting grabbed, or, I'm usually, if there's an EVP and if there's a name being called, it's usually my name that's on the EVP. So it's very entertaining. It's very fun. But then again, there's been investigations that we've gone and we've got absolutely nothing. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, which is, I would imagine, is to be expected, that sometimes, sometimes an investigation just doesn't really pan out to anything really tangible. I mean, that's kind of it seems like it's kind of the name of the game. Sometimes you're going to get something and sometimes you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let me jump on over here to the comments. We do have a few comments over here on the chat. Honeycomb Viper says, "I'm sorry for joining late, and if this question has already been asked, but was there a specific instance or instinct that led to Becky getting involved in the paranormal?" Yeah, Becky, take it away. Is there any? You might have sort of answered this at the beginning of the show, but any specific instance or instinct that led you to getting into the paranormal?
Basically just having experiences my whole life and just kind of knowing things. There would be a lot of times that I would go to places without even knowing much about the places, and I would just know that someone died there. And just weird things like that, just always having the sensitivity to it is what really kind of drew me into it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Honeycomb Viper, I hope that if you're still on, I hope that that answers your question. So yeah, let's get back over here. I
had a quick question for Becky. So say you complete an investigation and your team thinks that there definitely is a presence there. Since we were talking earlier that you guys don't do exorcisms or anything like that, what's the next step? Or what do you tell someone if they're trying to, get rid of that presence, or, what happens after that?
Well, I do cleanse houses. I can do that. I do go through and I will cleanse a house. Of course, nothing's guaranteed, because it basically depends on the ghost, if they want to stay, if they want to leave. But I do teach the client on how to handle situations, and I do teach them what to do. So if there is something there, depending on what is going on, we go from there. And, I approach the client and give them suggestions on what to do. And there has been times that, my cleansing or standing up to the spirit has helped. We had one client that had an issue with one in particular, and I basically took care of it, and they never had it come back. So it varies, and it depends. Every situation is different.
So with that, has there ever been in a situation where you've asked the spirit to leave, or you've been, like you said, you were sort of forceful with the spirit, and you just totally got just blown back, just nope, it's not listening to you, it's not gonna just leave quietly? Have you had any experiences like that?
Yeah, I mean, not to where they were really bad, but I have been, basically it was projected on me to feel nauseous and sick. I also had it to where they would throw anger at me. So I've dealt with things like that. Sooner or later, though, they usually, end up calmer. At least if they don't go away completely, it at least gets calmer.
Well, yeah, I guess if anything, yeah, I'd prefer, if a ghost is going to hang around, that it would it'd be nicer. It'd be calmer towards me.
Right.
I would hope so.
It's basically coming to an understanding.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think ghosts actually are, or these apparitions, these spirits? Are they just people who've passed on who can't seem to make it to wherever their next destination is? Or, I mean, what exactly do you feel like a ghost actually is?
Well, I feel that, they are definitely just people, the energy of people. There's all kinds of different hauntings, and so sometimes it literally is just energy that's put into a situation. There's been cases, I personally haven't had these cases, but I've read about them, that a living person can leave their impression somewhere and cause a haunting. Mm-hmm. So that's just the energy. Now, when it comes to an actual ghost, they're just people. They're people like us that, for whatever reason, they couldn't move on. And the most likely reason is either their death was a surprise, so a lot of times murder, or they committed suicide, and so they left kind of like unfinished business. And then the third reason is just basically they're attached and they don't want to. So those seem to be more of the basic reasons.
Okay. All right. That answers my question. Honeycomb Viper had another question for you, Becky. She said, do you feel like your sensitivities apply to other aspects of life, knowing when to avoid certain places, people, etc., stuff like that?
Yes. I've actually, I can honestly say I've had my life saved by having gut feelings about things and avoiding them.
Mm-hmm. Anything you'd like to share with the audience? Any specifics?
One which is really disturbing actually was when I was younger. When I was growing up, there was this one man in my neighborhood that I did not like. He gave me the creeps. I didn't like him. I wouldn't even walk by where he lived. I would always avoid his area by crossing the street or what have you. And it turned out he ended up murdering a little girl that lived across the street from me.
Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
and,
God.
All the other neighborhood kids had no problems with him. They would all hang out with him. I couldn't. I did not like this guy. I had a gut creepy feeling about him, and I would do everything I could to avoid him.
Wow. Did you know the little girl who got murdered?
I knew of her, but I never hung out with her or anything.
Okay. Wow. Well, there you go, yeah. Honeycomb Viper. I hope that answers your question. It sounds like Becky just has a deeper connection with something else out there. I don't know. Honeycomb Viper says, "Oh my God!" So it sounds like, yeah, that was definitely a creepy experience for you over there. So we're coming up to about the last 5 minutes of the show. So we'll start wrapping up this interview a little bit. But I wanted to ask you, you were talking about energies, and you were talking. And I feel like that's kind of a through line this week, and kind of the week, a couple weeks before I interviewed some people who described themselves as modern day occultists and practitioners of magic, and they talked a lot about energies. So I feel like it's just something that keeps coming back. And another thing that we kind of discussed on Monday, Parisa and I talked about Ouija boards and sort of tools to communicate with the other side, whether it be ghosts, spirits, even demons, what have you. What is your take on these kind of tools, especially something like a Ouija board that is that's sold in toy stores? It's a mass manufactured item. One of my interview guests said that they considered it the gateway to the occult in a lot of ways. So I'm interested on your take on stuff like that.
I've used them and I've never had any luck with them. We've actually tried to use them on some investigations, and I don't know, we did it what we did was the people using it blindfolded themselves. Mm-hmm. And so there was someone else that was keeping track of what was going on while the people touching it were blindfolded. and we noticed that it wouldn't actually make any sense. So sometimes we wonder if it's mind over matter when it comes to stuff like that, if someone's subconsciously moving it.
Okay.
But I honestly, we've tried using them, and I have had no luck with them at all. They won't work for me. But any type of device, I mean, you're basically opening a door, because even if you're using a K2, you're inviting the spirit to come interact with it.
Sure.
So it doesn't really matter what type of device, it's opening that door. And if you're opening that door, you're taking chances.
Yeah. And I mean, Parisa, I mean, you were telling us about your sort of your Ouija board experiences, and it sounds like you just kind of opened that door a little bit for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's really interesting how, you never had any luck with it. But yeah, like you said, it's with anything, it's kind of an invitation, and a lot of people might, buy one and think it's a fun time like I did, and then, years later still have a story to talk about. So, yeah, I mean, anything can be considered an invitation, and then, the rest will take its course.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So Becky, we got a few minutes left. So I just wanted to ask you, what do you think makes Tucson so special in regards to the paranormal and ghosts and stuff? I looked up a list the other day that was like the top 10 kind of like haunted places in Tucson, and the Fox is on there, Club Congress is on there, a few other places. Let me look over here, the Santa Rita Hotel, St. Mary's Hospital. So it looks like we do have kind of a nice little grip of haunted locations. So I'm just curious, why do you think
basically all of downtown?
Yeah, I mean, you do the tour downtown. It sounds like you have plenty to show people and to talk about. Why do you think Tucson is just it's kind of a nice little hub of paranormal activity?
The Wild West. I mean, we date back a lot further than a lot of people realize. Tucson was formed back in 1775. And, we had the, Presidio Wall, but, I mean, the Presidio Wall went up in order to protect people. There was, Indian attacks. There were, it was the Wild West, I mean, look at Tombstone. Part of that history happened here in Tucson, actually. So there's just a lot that has happened throughout the years, and we have that note of, well, we're out west, we weren't, around as long, but I mean, before we actually claimed it, there's other people that were here too. So it doesn't just deal with, because I always hear, well, back east is really haunted because that's where people first landed and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that's true. But out here, people have to realize that maybe it wasn't part of the U.S. at one point in time, but, there were people living here even before 1775. And so there is a huge history out here.
Yeah, there's Tucson, Arizona has a big history out here. So it looks like it's just the history is just kind of echoing throughout the ages, and here we are, Tucson, a big paranormal hotspot. So Pizza Pie, you have any parting words for our guests before we end this little interview over here?
Yeah, well, just thank you so much for sharing your information and sharing your story, and also for providing your services and, doing it in a very unbiased way. I think that really helps, especially kind of help people who might be a little bit more anxious or perhaps getting a little too paranoid. It's good to hear that there's people out there doing the right thing. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, Becky, how do people get in contact with you or the Tucson Ghost Society if they have a paranormal experience happening, if they feel like they're dealing with a haunting or something like that? How do they get in contact with you?
Well, all of our information is actually on the website for my tour. So if you just go to TucsonGhostTour.com, You can look up everything about us. In fact, all the team members, our pictures are up there. It lets you know who's on the team. It lets you know what we're about. You just have to click on the Tucson Ghost Society part of the TucsonGhostTour.com.
Cool. All right. Well, Tarantulas Dream TV listeners, if you have any more questions, or if you have a paranormal experience yourself that you want investigated, please check out the Tucson Ghost Society. So I want to thank you very much again, Becky, for spending some time with me over here on the air, and I hope you have a great rest of the year.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, there you go. That was Becky from the Tucson Ghost Society. What do you think of that, Pizza Pie? How did you think that went?
That was great. I think that was super informative. I like that, like I was saying again, that she's very calm and level about it, and I feel like it's a job where you can easily take advantage of people who are, mentally ill. But the fact that she's providing this service and doing it not to take advantage of people, I think that's really interesting. And yeah, that story that she told in response to Honeycomb Viper's question, that gave me the heebie-jeebies a little bit.
Gave you a little the spooky feeling in your gutty works. I don't know. It's like when you're on a roller coaster.
I don't know if it's the spaghetti or if it was that, it's something.
I forgot about your this spaghetti. We'll call it Spaghetti Gate. I don't know. I forgot about Spaghetti Gate over here. Let me go back to the chat real quick. I did have a question over here. Las Muletas going to do a Dia de los Muertos show. Well, hello there, Las Muletas. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a Dia de los Muertos show. What do you think, Pizza Pie? Should I dive right into the old Dia de los Muertos?
That could be fun, I mean, I feel like stories of the undead, there's so many. I know my boyfriend who's on the chat right now, he's got some crazy stories about a haunted house that he used to live in, so there's plenty more material,
What's going on with that? I've been doing, this is the second show about of the Halloween Spooktacular, and I don't remember ever hearing a phone call or a question, or I have a story coming from your boyfriend. What's the deal with that? Why isn't he calling in?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Kellen, if you're hearing this, call in next time. It's good, man. It's pretty spooky, I gotta say.
Well, I mean, this is the end of the Halloween Spooktacular, so if he's got a scary story, he's gonna have to wait a whole year, assuming that this is still happening here. I don't know. But anyways, so that's pretty much the end of the show. I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Halloween Spooktacular this week. I hope everyone has a good Halloween day on Saturday. I mean, it's going to be crazy. I don't know. I mean, it's not going to be crazy. Most of us are just going to be, I guess, just probably hanging around our houses, I imagine. I know that's what you said. You were kind of not really doing anything. I'm not going to be doing anything. So that's that. So, and also I want to thank you, Pizza Pie, for joining me. This is I feel like this has been a great little interview tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much, Samba. Thanks for having me.
All right, so I'll talk to you after. Stay on the line, Pizza Pie. I want to talk to you a little bit. So, but anyway, everyone else, please social distance if you can. Wear a mask if you go outside, and remember, it is a weird, weird world. Take care.